The air was thick with grief and the scent of incense as mourners gathered in southern Lebanon. They had come to pay their respects to two fallen Hezbollah leaders, Hassan Nasrallah and Hashem Safiuddin. The crowd stretched as far as the eye could see, a sea of flags and sorrow. But the solemn occasion was about to be disrupted. As prayers were offered and eulogies delivered, a distant hum grew into a roar. Israeli fighter jets, sleek and menacing, sliced through the sky. They flew low, casting an ominous shadow over the funeral procession. The message was clear, a brazen display of military might intended to intimidate and unnerve. The flyover was not merely a show of force, it was a stark reminder of the precarious balance in this volatile region where even funerals could become flashpoints. The assassination of Nasrallah and Safiuddin had sent shockwaves through the region. Hezbollah accused Israel of carrying out the targeted killing, their claims supported by eyewitness accounts and video footage. The organization vowed swift and decisive retaliation, raising fears of a wider conflict. Israel, for its part, neither confirmed nor denied involvement in the assassination. However, their response to the funeral left little doubt about their military capabilities and willingness to use them. In the hours following the flyover, Israeli airstrikes targeted suspected Hezbollah missile launchers in southern Lebanon. The strikes, while precise, caused significant damage to infrastructure and heightened anxieties among the civilian population. The delicate truce that had held for years seemed to be crumbling, with each side edging closer to the abyss of open warfare. As tensions flared in the aftermath of the funeral and airstrikes, a new element was added to the already volatile mix. 6 Israeli families, under the cover of darkness, crossed the border into southern Lebanon. They set up tents on a hilltop overlooking a strategic valley, claiming the land as their own. This incursion was not a random act of defiance. The families were members of Oritz Fun, a right-wing settlement organization with a deeply ideological agenda. Their goal was not simply to establish a presence, but to create a new reality on the ground, expanding Israeli control inch by inch. The Israeli military, initially claiming no knowledge of the family's actions, was soon photographed, providing them with protection. This apparent complicity fueled accusations that the government was tacitly supporting the settlement enterprise, further inflaming tensions with Hezbollah and the Lebanese government. The hilltop chosen by the settlers was no accident. It was one of 5 strategic hills in southern Lebanon that had long been under Hezbollah control. These hills offered a commanding view of the surrounding territory, allowing Hezbollah to monitor Israeli movements and maintain a strategic advantage. Israel's objective in seizing these hills was twofold. First, it aimed to deny Hezbollah this critical vantage point, disrupting their intelligence gathering and operational capabilities. Second, the occupation of these hills provided Israel with a buffer zone, pushing potential threats further away from their northern communities. The impact of this shift in control was immediate and significant. Over 60,000 Israeli settlers living near the border, fearing reprisals from Hezbollah, fled their homes. Meanwhile, the Lebanese army, outmatched and outmaneuvered, found itself struggling to assert its authority in the face of both Israeli aggression and Hezbollah's entrenched presence. Section 5, Oritz Fun, a settlement spearhead. Oritz Fun, the organization behind the provocative settlement in southern Lebanon, is not a fringe group. While small in number, its members are deeply connected to the corridors of power in Israel. The group's founder and spiritual leader, Rabbi Moshe Levinger, is a revered figure in the settler movement, known for his uncompromising stance on expanding Israeli sovereignty over the biblical lands of Judea and Samaria. Adding to the group's influence are its ties to Sarah Netanyahu, wife of the Prime Minister. Netanyahu, a controversial figure in her own right, has been a vocal supporter of the settlement enterprise, viewing it as essential to securing Israel's future. Oritz Fun's ideology is rooted in a belief that the entire land of Israel, from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, was divinely promised to the Jewish people. They view the existence of a Palestinian state as anathema to this vision and actively work to undermine any possibility of a two-state solution. Section 6, Echoes of the Golan Heights. The situation in southern Lebanon, with its escalating tensions, provocative settlements and strategic land grabs, bears an uncanny resemblance to a previous chapter in Israeli history, the occupation of the Golan Heights. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israel captured the Golan Heights from Syria. Initially presented as a temporary security measure, the occupation gradually morphed into a permanent arrangement. Settlements were established, infrastructure developed, and the Golan Heights were effectively annexed into Israel in 1981. The international community, with the exception of the United States, condemned the annexation as a violation of international law. However, Israel remained undeterred, citing security concerns and historical claims to the territory. Today, the Golan Heights serve as a stark reminder of Israel's willingness to use military force to achieve its territorial objectives and the lasting consequences of such actions. Section 7, a calculated gathering, timing and implications. The funeral of Nasrallah and Safieddine, while a somber occasion, was not without its share of intrigue. The timing of the event, coming months after their reported deaths, raised eyebrows among observers. Some speculated that the delay was intentional, allowing for a more elaborate ceremony and the attendance of high-profile figures from across the region. Among the mourners were representatives from the Houthi movement in Yemen and senior officials from Iran, both considered arch-enemies of Israel. Their presence, normally unthinkable given the security risks, fueled speculation that a tacit understanding had been reached, ensuring their safe passage. The gathering of such figures under the watchful eyes of Israeli jets served as a potent reminder of the complex web of alliances and rivalries that define the Middle East. It also highlighted the fluid nature of these relationships, where even sworn enemies can find common ground, albeit temporarily, when circumstances dictate. Section 8. Broken ceasefires and a nation in crisis. The ceasefire agreement that had brought a semblance of calm to the Israel-Lebanon border was in tatters. Hezbollah accused Israel of over 1,000 violations, ranging from airspace incursions to artillery shelling. They claimed that these violations had not only caused significant damage, but had also undermined Lebanon's sovereignty and terrorized its civilian population. The Lebanese government, already grappling with a crippling economic crisis and political paralysis, found itself caught in the middle. Unable to rein in Hezbollah or deter Israeli aggression, it resorted to issuing condemnations and appeals for international intervention. The human cost of this escalating conflict was becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Over 1.4 million Lebanese citizens had been displaced by the violence, seeking refuge in overcrowded shelters or fleeing the country altogether. The once vibrant economy lay in ruins, with businesses shuttered, unemployment soaring, and basic necessities in short supply. Section 9, Hezbollah's role protector or catalyst. Hezbollah, once hailed as the valiant defender of Lebanon against Israeli aggression, now faced growing criticism from within. Its detractors argued that the organization's actions, while well-intentioned, had only served to invite Israeli retaliation and plunge the country deeper into chaos. They pointed to the devastating consequences of Hezbollah's capture of 2 Israeli soldiers in 2006, which triggered a month-long war that left Lebanon in ruins. They argued that the organization's continued military build-up and provocative actions along the border only served to perpetuate a cycle of violence from which Lebanon was the primary victim. The debate over Hezbollah's role reflected a broader dilemma facing Lebanon. How could the country maintain its sovereignty and security while navigating the treacherous currents of regional rivalries and internal divisions? Could the Lebanese army, weak and under-equipped, ever hope to fill the void left by Hezbollah's dominance? These were questions that haunted Lebanon's future, with no easy answers in sight.